duper excited to be back on season 2 of the Talehub, powered by Priority TV. My name still remains Faye. I just thought to myself, a lot of things are happening in Nigeria at the moment. We're talking SACPA, we're talking investments gone wrong, we're talking so many tough conversations. And I said it is time for us to analyze that on set. I'm super duper excited, as I mentioned earlier, to be back on the set. This is a Talehub powered by Priority TV, and today we're talking sex in all facets. Yes, sex. It's about time we talk about it. Real good. And I'm joined by 2 certified sex coaches gracing our set today. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we get to meet them and the conversation kickstarts. Keep it locked.
Find great choices of automotives on the Urban Fleet app. Get it on your Google Play Store and iOS stores, or visit www.urbanfleet.biz.
Alright, joined by 2 certified sex coaches. I have with me Vera of Wholesome Sexuality. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Don't be humble about it. You're not humble about it. And definitely, I have Talehub of Talk Sex with Sugar. I'm about to ask you what that means still, because the sugar and the sex is just a whole lot of spice going on.
It's a lot of sweetness.
Exactly.
Is it always sweet with sex?
Well, it should be.
Yeah, but
it isn't always sweet, but it should be sweet.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's another aspect of it. You know, the conversation is already driving at the moment. But I'll go to one question, and I think I always want to start there. Where should sex education start from? At what age? I'll start with Vera.
She's the educator. Well, okay. Well, when you ask what age should sex education start from, sex education should start from the womb. And
so I talk to my child and I say, don't have sex, else you get pregnant.
Oh no, so you see, that's what the problem is. People think sex education is don't have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Sex education is not don't have sex. Yeah. Sex education at every facet of life, at every stage in life is different. It means something different.
Yeah.
Sex education to a 2-year-old is understanding your body parts. Sex education to a 4-year-old is owning your body. Sex education to a 6-year-old is saying, oh wow, self-esteem.
Yeah.
You understand? So most of the issues we have now in full-blown adult bodies is the fact that at those little ages, our parents meet those stages.
They failed.
Well.
I think you have to be honest about it.
And so really, sex education at every stage and every age in life means something different. Yes. Sex education is not have sex or don't have sex. So that's where the problem is. And that's also the issue why we have parents that are not able to educate their children because they are wondering, how do I tell a 2-year-old? Or what do I tell a 5-year-old about sex? But thank God we're having people now like Oluwapelumi. They're helping us now. Right. They're helping us now fill in those gaps. So I'm talking to a 2-year-old and I'm telling him, this is your penis, it's not your pee-pee.
This is your vagina.
This is your vagina. This is your vulva.
Yeah.
Now, because there's a problem with identification and labeling. So some people go and say they call the vulva the vagina. And then you now hear, don't wash your vagina. And then the child goes and doesn't wash the whole vulva.
Thinking that's the vagina.
So it starts from knowing what is what, where is what happens to what, and at every stage. And I usually advise to take advantage of learning moments, teaching moments. Yeah. So when your child comes to you and says some certain things, there's something appropriate for you to say at that point. But how do you help them if you are not informed?
Word. And then I'll go to you, Palumi.
So as much as possible, I say, just like what you said, you start teaching children about sex education. A lot of people think sex education is all about sex. It is not only about sex. Body image, self-esteem, consent is a very important thing. You know, and for example, people say, how do I teach children consent? You teach by example. You know, sometimes a family member comes visiting and like, come and hug uncle something, and the child is like, no, come and hug uncle something. Don't say. You don't do that to children. At that point in time, let them understand that they have agency. They're able to say, I don't want to do this. Well, if they tell you no, I don't want to do this, and of course, you know, children say lots of no's. The moment they learn the word no,
it's always a no.
They go on a roll.
Yeah.
No, but the important part is you teach, of course, you talk to them about consent. Okay, if you don't want to do, if somebody gives you something you don't want, you can say no. And you show them by example. Sometimes, so one time I saw a video of these parents telling the boy, kiss mommy, and the boy was like, no. I was like, kiss mommy, Joe. It was sort of like, you are supposed to be teaching this boy consent. This was a perfect way
opportunity
for you to teach. Okay, you don't want to kiss mommy, that's fine.
Word.
Because these are things that they would carry on. For example, they would go to school. Other children, you know, what they have learned from their own homes, they would want to. They would bring it together with your own kids, and all of a sudden you start seeing that your child is bringing something like, when did you learn this one? But you know, when you started teaching them these things, you know, body image, body parts,
it's quite easy.
you know, and then it also reduces the incidence of child sexual exploitation, because children don't know body parts. It's hard for them to come and tell you that somebody. So, for example, you told your child.
You're giving us a lot of examples right now. We're probably need to wrap up to other questions because I have like 10 questions.
So let me just round up on that. You know, something like, just like you said about saying vagina is vagina, vulva is vulva. You hear people say things like cookie. Mommy, somebody took my cookie. And how, as a mother, do you want to know what cookie is?
Cookie is biscuits.
You know, cookie is biscuits.
It's something I eat.
You won't know that the person is actually has been abusing your child. But you know, we'll talk more as
on that.
I
need to ask another question, and that's I think it's more tuned to Vera, because I mean, just the buff out there, Vera got married a virgin, and truth about it is there's a lot of craze behind being a virgin as female, not being a virgin as male. And I don't know if it's pertaining or if it's to this part of the world or basically everywhere, right? So I'm talking Nigeria and all that. What's the pressure on female to be virgins? Also, another side I want us to go with it is religious centers. There's this idea of abstain from sex. Abstain from sex. We're not preaching get protected. We're not preaching get protected. It's just abstain from sex. Is sex really the problem? And why are we abstaining from it?
Okay, so I'll take it one phase to the other. You started with virginity.
Yes.
Okay, so the whole being a virgin thing is not man's idea. I mean, who is man?
That was a sub, like,
who is man? As in, what does he know? Do you understand? He's a creation, not the creator, right? So the creator told us that we should keep ourselves holy. Now, the issue here is that because women are made to seem or made to look like the weaker vessel, we're the ones that should submit. We're the ones that should not talk. We're the ones that should not have a voice. So people just think that message is for us. No, purity is not gender specific. The message was straight to humanity.
But that's not what's happening.
But that's not what's happening because of our culture. Our culture has told us that, you know, like I first started with telling you that the woman should submit, the woman should not have a voice, the woman should not be, when men are talking, you cannot talk. So with all that, and then because we are the ones that have a hymen.
But not all women have hymen.
We are the ones that were created
with a hymen.
The man, there's nothing that you use to check
to
tell if he's a virgin or not.
A lot of men are lucky.
Right.
And you can have 100 body counts. I know know about it.
Nobody will know. Right. But for a woman, the moment is like Pringles. Once you pop, you can stop.
Okay.
Once you open up, right, let's be going.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's where the issue is. So because there's a, let's say, sexometer, or a gauge or a range or something used to check for virginity in the woman, and there's none for the man. That's why it seems like the pressure is on the woman. But the person is getting really worse. But the person that gave the instruction was not gender specific. He gave the instruction to humanity, male and female. Right. What was your second question again?
Religious centers. So I think I'll just have you answer that question.
Okay.
So a lot of people abstain. There's this preaching of, I mean, you go to intending couples class. I've been there. You need to abstain from sex. Don't have sex. Don't have sex. But you have people who have been infected with STIs. So where is the preaching behind get protected? Why do we keep preaching abstain from sex? what's the craze behind abstinence?
So, purity culture. Most religions preach purity culture, preach shame-filled purity culture.
Shame-filled.
Yeah. So what I mean by shame-filled is, if you have sexual urge, you are a sinner. You are dirty. You are disgusting. And they would. You can't. As women, at times when we are ovulating, there's
You're
this
extra horny.
intense conjugal,
You're extra
intense
horny.
horniness, and nobody tells you. Nobody told me. Nobody told. Did anybody tell you?
You
that?
feel it.
You feel it, but I learned about it in school.
Your school is. Oh.
It's
No, not school. I mean
like your
sex
sex
school.
school.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned about it in sex
I was
school.
like, okay.
We just felt like, okay,
so,
something is up.
so they literally explained that feeling, right? Ovulation is your body telling you that you want to have a child. And then what do you do to have a child?
You
You
will
need
do
to have
everything.
sex.
You will do everything to.
Thank you. So your body is just preparing you, but it doesn't mean that you have to succumb
to succumb to it.
to it.
It's a very tough.
It is a tough
It's
battle.
a very tough
You
thing.
know, almost for other people, just for other people, the urge is different. You go close to a boy sometimes and like, ooh, your body's giz. And you don't even understand. You don't understand what's going
I like
on.
that
And
giz.
then when you go to church and they're like, if you think about sex, you're going to fire. If you even imagine the slightest, or if your body moves, you are going to
Hell.
and.
Some people will go for deliverance.
You can't, there's also, they will take you for deliverance.
By
And
flogging.
you can't keep telling,
You go for deliverance by flogging.
it's like, and premarriage counseling.
Premarital counseling.
You go for premarital counseling and they'll say things like, submit to your husband in everything he wants. For men, sex is like food. I'm like, who told you that sex is not food for women?
Preach him.
So like they would say, oh, you always have to satisfy the man. Make sure he's always.
What about
even
me
when
as a woman?
Even when you're not in the mood, you always have to. And you're like. So imagine somebody that over time, from when you have been growing up, sex was always you can't even mention the word sex.
Sex is a taboo.
You can't. It's like a taboo. You can't mention sex. You can't mention horniness or urge or something. And automatically, they feel like when you get married, they're supposed to
Turn on a switch.
turn on the switch
And just drive.
Like
Drive.
how?
Drive and
How
drive.
does that work? You can't do that to people. That's why sometimes I'm sure that in the course of you'd have had couples coming saying that my wife is not this or my husband is not
doing that.
And like sometimes the couple they'll get married and they'll see themselves naked and like, oh my God, blood of Jesus.
So for us, what we've started doing is that I coach.
Yeah.
So I prepare intending couples. I had a webinar sometime called Soon to Be Wed. So I coach intending couples on what to do from the nitty-gritty of setting the atmosphere to no pressures. We don't have to have sex tonight. I mean, that
And we'll be all right.
that alone is a huge chip from the shoulders. So I train couples on what to do on the wedding night. And the wedding night doesn't start from the day we say I do of the night. It starts from we are going to say I do. So let's start preparing ourselves.
So when you do this,
So quick one, because we really need to go on a break to just give credit to our sponsor on the show. And when we return, guys, the conversation continues. Remember, it is still the Talehub powered by Priority TV.
The Talehub is proudly sponsored by Urban Fleet app, a platform where you can rent, list, and make good revenue on your vehicles.
Back to the Talehub Season 2 powered by Priority TV. My name still remains Faye and we are still talking sex in all facets. Yes, I'm super duper excited. We've been having conversations from all angles and we're hoping these are conversations that you love. Our next question. There's a where's she coming from? It's about porn.
Okay.
And I think we need to talk about that. I think I read something online and they said masturbation gives you self-pleasure. So you need to be able to understand, those parts in your body that make you, tingle and tickle and all that. So you probably need to get a toy and explore on your body and you get some idea of where you want your man to touch you or, just give you that. So there's a look of, okay.
Because you've asked like 5 different questions in one. Yeah. You've asked masturbation, you've asked pornography, you've asked toys. What's the fourth one?
So we'll take it from the angle of, from its all encompassing into porn, because even in porn, there is the use of sex toys there. What is your take on pornography?
Okay. Pornography is a lie. Pornography is a movie.
It's just acting.
It's acting.
Yeah.
So you see, pornography is perverted. Pornography is not real. So when you sit and watch porn, you have an image and you tell yourself that this is how it should be. Pornography is a thief of true pleasure.
A thief.
A thief of true pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, when God created sex, Adam, Eve, fruitful, multiply, enjoy yourself, right? And that's what God said they should go and do.
Yeah.
And then that means that they should go, discover, find, search, explore, have adventures, and be happy with each other. Now, pornography, what pornography does for you is that it damages your mind. It tells you that this is how it should be done. Now, in the movie you are watching, yes, we're on set now, we have like 1 million people, different cameras and stuff like that, and you tell me that you're having sex, and 10 people are videoing you, cuts, camera, action, move it.
Go from this angle.
This angle, that angle, that angle, tape rolling, sound, are we still on?
It's usually too perfect.
Thank you. With all those things, and then one man lasts for 1 hour.
You know, it's like...
And then you go home and say, Papa Nkechi.
Okay.
You must go for 1 hour.
You see this thing, Papa Nkechi. We gotta revire this thing. 1 hour. Your mates are doing it.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Okay, she's going to faint.
Papa Nkechi cannot even last 2 seconds.
Ouch.
And I keep asking, the God that created sex did not give us a latency period. There is no scriptural, biblical duration of sex.
Yeah.
And so we go, we watch porn. They've told you it created a perverted image of what sex should be. See why I call it a thief? Then you are with your husband. The best he can do is 3 minutes. And he has done it with everything in him just because he loves you.
I'm assuming that 3 minutes is just penetration.
Yes, I'm just saying,
not like foreplay.
I'm not saying the whole thing. No, foreplay is like forever. Foreplay is like forever. Let's not go to the foreplay part.
Like 15 minutes, sis.
But I'm just saying that the penetrative part, after he has done all the worshiping, appreciating, adoring, acknowledging different spots on the body and angles, and then he goes in for like 3 minutes. You will now say, Papa Nkechi, is this what your mates are doing? You see, that's why in the beginning we were first told that sex is for married people. It's not for single people. Now, when you have had sex as a single person, in quotes, you have gathered degrees, you've gathered certification from Toyin, from Tola, from Emeka.
It's the name of a boy, though. Because
Whatever, all of them. You've gathered, experiences. And then you come into your marriage. When they come to me, I'm asked, my husband is not last, I'm asked, as compared to who? As compared to what?
Word.
Do you understand? So we keep saying that they say we should not have sex. They hold you now. Don't do. I will do. I want to do. In our reach the marriage now. Now. It's not enough. It's not doing well. How? What brought you here? You see, consequences of disobedience.
And what are affecting you?
You will now come into the marriage where you're supposed to be enjoying it and not be enjoying it. So you have watched porn for so long. They said we should not, they talked about it, purity culture. Some people's mode of abstinence, in quotes, is pornography and masturbation. They call it, what's that saying? Coping mechanisms. Because they come and say, Ma, how do we cope? Cope what? What are you coping? It's not for you.
But you mentioning that, right? What if your partner does not know how to satisfy you?
You teach him.
What if he's not learning?
So you see where the problem is. So our culture, again.
There's always this thing of...
and our ideologies
everything stems
that,
from there.
the mindset that I am in charge as the man. So that's why you now have a problem on how to teach this person. But like I always say, if you married your friend, it starts from the choice of who you marry. Right, you married your friend. You are able to have proper communication with this person, right? It doesn't come as if you're teaching the person. You're telling the person that this thing now, for us to enjoy it, I think we should do it this way. How do you feel? I talk about communication and sex. Communication before, communication during, and communication after. The after is the appraisal part. You have fired for 10 minutes, and then you come out and you're excited, and your wife is lying down there. That means you don't even love me in the first place. Because sex is not about you.
Self-satisfaction.
It's mutual. We are committed. We are committed to pleasing and receiving pleasure from one another. So that's where, you see that the mindsets are different. Yes. So when you are masturbating, you are pleasuring yourself. You are being selfish. So you come out and say, this guy she doesn't want to share, I come and say, Pelumi doesn't want to share her snacks. Pelumi is being selfish, right? That's when it's a sin. Yeah. Then when I go into my room and I pleasure myself, I'm not being selfish.
What is your take on the use of sex toys? Because, just another buffer. I've seen a lot of sex coaches online who say it is all right to use sex toys. Do men not get threatened by sex toys? Because, I'm not calling out a friend of mine, but she legit told me it gives me a lot of satisfaction. There's a friend who has told me that, I get satisfaction.
See that word? It gives me. It's not about you. It's us. When you are married, it's us.
So are we saying that sex toys are prohibited in relationships?
Okay, so I'm going to come from the angle of, so I know that as much as possible, as Vera is speaking on the angle of marriage, of course, married people. Yeah. But I'm here speaking for, it has to balance. I'm here speaking
the people of the world?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I'm here because I remember in the beginning you mentioned something about the church always talking about abstinence. Yeah. So they don't talk about protection. It's because the church feels like only one set of people. Not everybody is a Christian. Not everybody is religious. Yeah. So in as much as possible, the information you churn out, of course, not everybody will understand. But then the information you are churning out, as long as it has health, because sex is a part of health. Yeah. And it relates to everybody, whether religious or not, atheist or not. Sometimes, as much as possible, try to cater to people of when God said,
so what do you
love
think
your neighbor
about
as
sex
yourself.
toys?
Yeah. Well, for me, I'd always say that not everybody is going to get married. Not everybody. Yeah. Some people are.
No, honestly, I feel you, sis. Not everybody.
Not everybody is going to get married. And there's some people that also, for example, live with disabilities. Disabilities that they will not get married. Some people, and it's important that I know that these things have been created, they have been designed, so that in as much as possible, some people can also get pleasure. For people that are solo, that are not partners.
So you believe in the use of sex toys?
Yes, I believe in
because I feel like you're being diplomatic about your answer.
Thank you! I was about to say something, but...
You have been doing a lot of, I believe...
No, I'm not being
do you like
I do believe in the use of sex toys.
Yeah, so there's...
So I'm just trying to give you some examples.
You're being diplomatic.
Sorry, can I just say something? Yes, can I say something? Yes. Because you've talked about solo.
Yes.
You've talked about it's not everybody that's going to get married. Yes. Right. I'm sorry, but I'm an unapologetic Christian. Okay. And I will tell you what the Bible says. It says if you cannot control yourself, get married.
But not everybody will get married.
Just hold on. When he says you cannot control yourself, get married, it was referring to sex.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So there is no sex, whether with a toy, with a human, because now inanimate object, they are marrying inanimate object. With an animal, whatever it is not for a single person.
But I need to say something. You're talking about the Bible right now.
Yeah.
I think we need to go on a break. We'll continue this conversation because the Bible and then you pertaining, this is just Christian angle. Yeah. So how do we cater to those that are not
Christians?
Exactly. We'll go on a break, guys, and when we come back, the conversation continues. It is still the Talehub powered by Priority TV.
Find great choices of automotives on the Urban Fleet app. Get it on your Google Play Store and iOS stores, or visit www.urbanfleet.biz.
Welcome back to the Tail Hub. Still joined by Vera of Wholesome Sexuality and Pelumi of Talk Sex with Sugar. Okay, so before we went on our break, we were talking sex toys, right? And Pelumi was trying to be diplomatic over the whole issue, and I didn't really understand that. So if you like sex toys, just let us know, right? And Vera, on the other hand, obviously is preaching against that. Like, you need to pleasure your spouse, and
receive pleasure from your spouse.
So you were talking from the angle of a Christian. How do we cater to those that are non-Christians, to the atheists, to those who, basically do not believe in your religion?
Okay, so
I'm coming to you because you really need to talk about sex toys.
so for me, right, I come from the angle that says that if you're coming to me, I'm not sorry I'm a Christian. Do you understand me? Unapologetic. So there are a lot of sexologists in the world. There are a lot in Nigeria. But when you chose to come to Vera of Wholesome Sexuality, I will preach Jesus to you, whether you like it or not. So it's left to you to now make your choice. Because I'm of the opinion, and really I don't have an opinion, but I come from the angle that says that you cannot effectively use a product without direction from the producer.
But sex toys come with the...
No, I'm not referring to sex toys. I'm referring to sex itself.
Okay, cool. But when we're talking about sex,
yes, we're getting there.
They come with
We're getting there. My issue with sex toys, aside from the fact that I said we should not defile the marriage bed, I always tell people, because people come up with this message that, you can do anything in marriage, right? So, like I ask, for you to have sex in marriage, there are principles. Is it bringing you shame? Is it bringing you together, or is it driving you apart?
Apart, yeah.
Right. And then are you introducing a third party?
Yeah, threesomes happen.
Yeah, but are you in a marriage is a covenant? Are you in a covenant with a third person? Covenant of marriage is between you, your husband, and your God.
So I already get your answer. You're not into threesomes. You're like,
no. Hell no.
Okay.
So when that question of sex toys now, this is what happens with sex toys. Yeah. When you bring in a toy into your bed. Now, when people ask the sex toys question, they're not referring to the ones that are physically disabled. Trust me. When people are asking the sex toys question, they're asking for things to pleasure themselves. Do you understand me? They're asking for the dildos. They're asking for the clit suckers. They're asking for, yes.
And there's one that you wear, like
yes, the vibrator panties, vibrating panties. Yeah, thank you. So these are what they're asking for. They are not asking for things that are helping them health-wise. They're asking for things for their self-pleasure. And the moment you start talking about self-pleasure, you have already deviated from the whole idea of sex in the first place. So when they bring these toys in, this is what happens. A toy has, sorry, I'm going to use my phone. Imagine whatever you want to imagine. A toy has zero emotions, zero feelings, zero opinion. You didn't press my breast well. Your toy is not going to answer you that question. Do you understand? I want you to give me oral. The toy is not communicating with you. So when people want to remove the whole exploration and idea of sex, pervert it, then they bring a toy. Now, if you use a toy, when you use a toy, it's not lasting 2 minutes. Battery that you put another battery. You buy Duracell.
But is it all sex that last for 2 minutes?
Wait, now I know where I'm coming to.
We need to be careful.
I know where I'm coming to. So you have when people come and say my husband in quotes is not lasting well, you don't have that problem with your toy now. That's my point. You don't have that problem with your toy. You change the battery die, you change battery.
So Pelumi, do you think it's wrong? You have a problem with your husband not lasting in bed. Is it wrong for you to now reach out to a sex toy to finish the work that your husband started or your wife started?
It depends on what the problem is. Most times we talk about...
So basically, your one of your, what do you call that thing? Your spots is maybe...
Erogenous spots.
Erogenous spots is, okay, I really need you to fondle with my nipples, right? And he's not getting it right. And you have a sex toy that does that. If he doesn't do it right, can you reach out to your sex toy to finish the job?
Personally, I would tell him. I would show
If
him
he's
how
still
to
not
use
doing
it.
it right.
Why would you know? Why would you? No, I would show him how to use the sex
Okay,
toy.
so Pelumi, not you right now. Other people.
Other people, honestly, if the sex toy is going to make
The work better.
it's going to make the work better. It's
And
just
the
like
better.
you have a car. Would you rather keep walking from here to 3rd Mainland Bridge when you have a car that can get you there faster?
So you're relating sex with a human to sex with an inanimate object.
I feel like this conversation between Dara and Pelumi is going to be a very lengthy one. Very lengthy one. I need to go to another question.
Sorry, I just wanted to say the tail end of that.
Not giving up.
No. I was giving the tail end of that thing.
It's
The
right.
tail end is it. Remember, I said there are principles to this thing. Is it bringing you together? Is it driving you apart? The end is the fact that this toy is going to successfully drive you apart from your spouse, because there's no human being that would be able to satisfy you the way that toy does. So now you have pushed your spouse away, because you have moved the responsibility of your satisfaction from the human being that's supposed to do it to a toy.
Well,
and I feel it's an insult. See,
What
cheating is an insult, right? But cheating is an insult,
Yes.
but it's more degrading to say that you cheated on your spouse with an inanimate object.
Okay, can I?
I'm not very clear on that. So your spouse should cheat on you with your best friend.
So I didn't say he should cheat. My point is, if
but
you want,
said it's more degrading. So
no.
I'm trying to explain the balance here.
all. Let me use our Nigerian term. All die na die.
Oh, that, yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you are cheating, it's bad.
Yeah.
Then, if they now ask you,
Yeah.
who did your spouse cheat on you? As in, let's plan. May we go
Sex
beat.
toy.
May we go beat. May we go beat person. Relax. No.
Better than
No,
full-blown
you know,
human being.
a full-blown human being, you can react to the human being. You can lock the person up and get closure.
throw the sex toy away.
And they'll buy another one.
Yeah, you throw it away.
Okay, so I'm just going to.
You're not for one.
Because first of all, when the intent of a thing is not known, it's prone to
When the
abuse.
purpose of a thing is not
when
known,
the purpose or intent of
abuse
a
is
thing not known,
inevitable.
abuse is inevitable.
Yeah.
The fact that maybe some people somewhere used a sex toy and they sort of like sidelined their partner doesn't mean that is how everybody. There's
So we
many.
shouldn't
There are
generalize
other healthy marriages that the sex toy is a
driving force.
Yes, they are like
Pornography is probably
they're
the
like
driving force.
should I use the word catalyst or something where
Yeah,
it
catalyst.
is a part of and they're healthy marriages.
There's a
No,
loop
honestly, they're healthy.
Tell me, what are you talking about?
Healthy marriages where sex toys are part of it, where they both of them respect each other. Like, okay, this thing, okay, I'll teach you how to use it on me. And sometimes you would even see women that enjoy looking at their man pleasing himself.
Okay.
I don't know if you get
Okay,
it.
so
sorry.
So that we do not dwell too much on this, because this is starting to take a turn of topic of the day.
Yeah,
Use of
and
sex
it was just moving
And
to another
sex in
level.
all faces. My next question goes, and I'm sure this is also going to drive a lot of back and forth with Pelumi and Vera, is anal sex. Right? Because I was going through, I think one of the sex coaches online on Instagram actually put up a post and she said, which of the sex methods have you never tried? And a lot of people kept writing anal sex. And I saw someone's comment who says, anal sex is not bad. It gives you a lot of pleasure. The idea of it, somebody from literally where your poop comes out from, make it make sense.
Do you want me to answer that question?
I mean, both of you don't answer, but
Okay, let me hear what you think about anal
so
sex.
that you get to counter her.
Well,
the cons.
Okay.
The cons, because there are some people that enjoy anal. The cons of anal is it outweighs the praise. Because you say that, for example, for a man who say, oh, you know, to stimulate his prostate, that anal, this same prostate can be stimulated externally. just between his scrotum and there's an area.
There's not a graphic thing going
yeah,
on.
There's an area at the perineum where you can easily stimulate this. So I'm like, if you can do that, why
do you need to go that?
The cons outweigh the pros. It's like,
so you say pros. What are the pros?
For people that do it, now I'm saying for people that do it, they claim that they.
She's like, I don't do it.
They claim that pleasure. They claim that they enjoy pleasure. But you know, when you ask, of course, the more people, for example, the MSM, men who have sex with other men, they are at more risk of HIV and other STIs because the inner walls of the anus is very, very thin and highly vascularized. Like blood vessels, like
okay. So see, in summary of what she's saying is this: the anus is like it's a duplicate of the vagina, right? So the same things you have in the vagina, you have in
but
the
poop
anus.
doesn't come out of the vagina.
Yeah, but menstrual blood comes out of the vagina. But now, so you see,
graphic. I'm a lady, but it's too graphic.
yeah. So this similarities, right? Now it's they tell you that they have, well, they told us in school when we went to school, so that there's more pleasure from the anus than from the vagina, and both. And this is the reason. Let me tell you why the reason. Because of the location of the G-spot.
Right. Word.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because of the location of the G-spot. So with the location of the G-spot, it's easier to hit it from the anus than from the vagina. You are doing this.
From the anus.
From the anus, you are doing this. Right. So now they actually teach positions that would help you achieve that if you're doing anal sex. But like she said, the cons are more than the pros. For me, it's an exit hole. Yeah. Why are we putting things inside where something's supposed to come outside from?
Right.
And honestly, in terms of, just like you said, in terms of, you said, they say pleasure. Now, this pleasure that is, this so-called pleasure that is said to be gotten from anal, are things that can be gotten.
As I said, they are duplicates.
You know, and then just like you were talking about the G-spots, there's the doggy style. There's styles where you can hit the G-spots.
So for somebody that does not like doing doggy.
Yeah, there's missionary, there's scissors, there's spooning.
For someone that doesn't like doing doggy, right? They will tell you that. Do you understand? If I don't want to do. Okay. So if I don't want to do doggy, they would rather say, you know what, just bend over properly.
To the side?
No. Properly. The same doggy, but there's a way they will position the recipients.
You can argue.
There's a way they will position the recipients so that the penetrator will be able to have proper access. Now you're not hitting the rectum, you're going straight for the G-spot. So where the problem is, the health issues with anal sex is when you are pounding the rectum and then when it gets burst. That's when you now have a problem with holding and stuff. Do you understand?
And then the muscles, the sphincters would weaken.
Weakens everything. Inconsistence of moving in and out of stuff. So they tell you, get a good lube, you get a this, you get a that.
You put lube in your...
Don't say I put.
Sorry, okay, so, yeah. So people
advise vaginal sex. They will tell you use lube and do everything and blah, 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 and all the plenty drama they want to do to be able to do it. Do you understand? The same way we're told, relax, your vaginal opening would gradually open itself if you're very turned on. But the difference, so you see the difference now. With the vagina, when the woman is really turned on, her something tells her brain that, hello,
welcome,
we want to enter.
Yeah.
Then the brain will answer, open. But you see the anus does not have that kind of communication with the brain because it wasn't designed for it.
Right. It was only designed for exits.
It wasn't designed for it, right? But you see the vagina, the moment you touch your babe, where do everything, she will just be flowing with milk and honey, and then automatically the Red Sea is parted.
Like enter. Paradise.
Do you understand?
Basically.
But you see for the anus, see, I always tell people, when you deviate from what God has said, you will struggle. Do you understand? You will struggle. Why are we struggling to make the back work when there's front door?
And you know, just
Steady dropping.
Just to quickly chip in something.
Yeah.
So you know, the way people talk about virginity and stuff, I personally feel like virginity is a social construct, which is there isn't a kind of meter to know whether a woman is a virgin or not. Because not every woman has
A hymen.
And even if you have a hymen, the hymen is just like an elastic piece of tissue.
Yeah.
That some women's hymens.
Some can ride horse and their hymen will just disappear
Watch
like that.
out.
Some women's
To just
hymens
disappear.
even you'll still see it when they are delivering in
the delivery. Yeah.
So there isn't any meter to say oh this woman has had sex once or twice. So you know when they say this thing where when you have sex you're supposed to bleed, you know, the first time and all that. I know, of course, the bleeding comes from the fact that she is not well aroused. It is her first time. She does not.
There's probably a cut or something somewhere.
Not a cut per se. It's like you are trying to. Something is
You're
not
forcing
ready.
your way through.
You are trying to force your way through because
Something that has not welcomed you.
something that's not welcomed you. Exactly. Something that's not welcomed you. You're trying to force your way through. You know, so there'll be like abrasions inside that could possibly, of course, not every woman bleeds on the first try. And some women would not only bleed on the first time, they would bleed second, third. But some women would not only bleed, they may not even bleed the first time. Some would bleed maybe like the 5th time or the 6th time. You know, so the whole ideal of virginity is a social construct. Now, it brings me back to the fact that now, for this purity culture thing, where they say, oh, because you're a virgin, and this particular person you mentioned that.
Okay, so a friend of mine told me that her roommate, her father always checks for virginity, right? But she's a professional anal sex giver.
You know,
Okay, we will definitely hold that thought because that's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in, literally. We go on another break. And when we return, I'm sorry, I'm hooked. The conversation continues. This is still the Talehub powered by Priority TV.
The Talehub is proudly sponsored by Urban Fleet app, a platform where you can rent, list, and make good revenue on your vehicles.
Still on to the Talehub powered by Priority TV. My name is Faye, and we still have Vera and Palumi. We're still talking sex in all facets. So before we went on that break, we were talking about the man who took his daughter to the hospital to check if she was still a virgin. Yeah. So summary of the story is the father takes his daughter to the hospital to check if she's a virgin, and apparently she's performing the act of anal sex. So I think it's just to tell people out there, it's not, this place is not any basic check for virginity. It could happen anywhere and everywhere. So, but I want to really go into the conversation of sexual abuse. And I think it has to do with even children. When we grow up, we have cousins, we have so-called uncles who stay with us. And I think every lady house out there has been abused one way or the other. I had this, I have to say that, but I had a very stupid cousin who, he was staying with us then when we were younger. And he came into the room. There was a day I woke up, and I really have to be, because I feel like we always shy away from this conversation. Yeah. And it was when we were sleeping, and I realized that there was someone's finger inside me. Yes, I realized that. And you know when you get that sensation, and I just woke up and I saw
what's going on?
And I had to call his, and I said, Uncle Kunle. And he was like, no, I just came to cover you up. Cover me with
Funny how.
And when that happened, and I think it has to do with a lot of parents, when people abuse your children, let your children be confident enough to run to you. I left my bed that day and I went to my parents' room and I said, Mommy, Uncle Kunle was touching me.
Wow.
A lot of children, I don't know if it's happening, but a lot of children don't believe that their parents would hold that story to heart and act on it. I would also say that my parents didn't act the way they should have acted. The only thing I was done was, when he comes back in the evening, and I was in the room when they were having a conversation with him, and it was Kunle, you need to leave the house. And I think about it right now, I'm like, no, that guy should have been jailed.
Yes.
There should be repercussions for actions that are taken, whatever age you are, whether you're an adult, whether you're a child, right? Yeah. So I really want us, are there standing orders? They say, a man who rapes somebody, you go to jail. But these stories, these things take so long in court, they drag, that people do not get justice like they should.
So this thing, right, I won't take it from the parents' angle, right? And I can be very emotional about it because my 2 children, It did not come to me easy. I and God had conversations.
Yeah.
And then he gave them to me. People say I did family planning. He didn't kind of do like that. They were not there when I was talking to my God.
Yeah.
Now we were planning it and they were coming. So, your child, the first things first, like I always say, the foundation for sex education with your child is actually trust.
Yes.
Communication and trust.
Trust.
You need to be able to have built trust in your child. And be able to build that trust that your child also trusts you. My mother, I schooled 1,000 miles away from Lagos. But my mother always told me something. She says, anything you do, I will know. If I catch you.
African mothers.
Yeah. she says it, right? And she will always say, remember, child of whom you are. You are a teacher's child. You cannot embarrass me in public.
Yeah. Word.
I don't know what they used to tell them in teachers training school.
As in,
You are a teacher's child and you can never embarrass me in public.
Yeah.
So when she said those things, when I go to school, I know how I try to behave myself. I used to feel like my mother was on my back.
I was watching
was
you.
going to school, class, and other things with me. But the day they slapped me and 5 fingers showed on my face, my mother was on the next available night bus to Imo State.
Wow.
They were not believing me. I said, I want to talk to my mother. Why? Because in as much as she has said those things, we had a relationship. We had a rapport. I knew that. Don't try me. I know.
your mom has your back.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's the kind of confidence we should be able to build in our children of these
Yeah.
days. Let them know that whoever it is, be it your daddy, I got you. My mother was on the next available night bus to Imo State to fight who? Yes!
Who landed a slap on your
She
cheek?
said, I did not give birth to this child for you to help me train. And she meant it with every fiber of her being. I could see her vibrating. She wasn't going to be the person. She like me. We could not get power to her.
But at least, the fact that you knew that your mom had your back.
Yeah, everywhere was vibrating. I could feel it. So the problem we have now is that parents are too busy.
Yeah.
Parents are too carried away.
And they haven't created a safe space
available.
for their children.
Available emotionally, available physically, available otherwise. Parents just want to be available financially. I know suffer, my pikin no go suffer. So that's what's killing the children of these days. You don't give them a voice. So a child is being molested in any way, whether with play or with seriousness. The child cannot come back and tell you, Mommy, do you know that this person did this thing? I'll tell you, I'm sorry, my child is telling the truth. Acknowledge that fact first.
Yeah.
Yes.
First, she has told me the truth. Then you now be defending yourself. What's your defense? I mean, I had a situation sometime in my daughter's school. My son came home and said they had changed his taekwondo teacher. He's 3 years old. Mommy, taekwondo teacher has changed. I said, why? I don't know. He was not telling me all the things the new teacher was telling. So I called the school. I said, you people changed taekwondo teacher in the middle of the term.
Yeah.
They said no, they didn't change taekwondo. And the woman was arguing with me. I was just laughing. When she was done, I said, everything you said to me now, that the person that taught him today is not the person that taught him last week.
Yeah.
So therefore, my child is not a liar. My child has said to me, this is what happened today. So you will first acknowledge the child.
Yes.
Yeah. Before
Then
you
you
get
can now
defensive.
start defending.
True.
Do you understand? And that's what is lacking nowadays. Because they feel that sex education is first talk about sex. No. Build that rapport. Build
That
create a
trust,
safe
community.
space
Yeah. That
for
safe
your
space is
children
important.
to always be able to come back and tell you. Like the one that told my daughter the other day that the dog in her house will soon be on her period. Then they will bring a male dog. Then the dog in her house will not get pregnant. But that ran to me and asked me, Mommy, they say this dog will be on her period and they will bring a male dog and she'll get pregnant. After that, I finished with my child.
You went
I
to
went outside and
school.
said, no, it was not school's neighbor. I went outside and said, please,
Don't do that.
don't help me.
Yeah. Train.
Don't
my
help me.
daughter.
Don't help me. Don't help me to bring 2 years backwards.
Yeah.
No, let her grow.
At
in
the
her
the
stages.
in the
Let her
stages.
appreciate-
Don't
enjoy
accelerate
and
it.
appreciate each stage. So that's the problem. Parents are not available. emotionally, physically, and otherwise. They think availability is money.
Money. So I'll go to Pelumi, who is a sex educator right now, and I'm sure you probably dealt with cases of child abuse. Yeah, so what's your take? I know it's a lot to swallow, right? A lot of experiences you've probably heard of, but what should be done? What should be avoided?
I think I would go first from the point of a victim/survivor.
Yeah.
I think when I was a child, maybe around 7 or so, we had this male housemate. You know, my mom was a very nice person. You know, okay, come bring your son. I'll send him to school. Blah blah. You know, and he was steady abusing her daughter, and I couldn't tell her until like maybe 15 years later, and she cried. He's now a pastor, by the way. So yeah. You know, and there was, you know, there was also another one when I was younger. That one I even told my parents at that point in time. You know, I was thinking, okay, maybe they would police, blah, blah, blah. But I think the only thing that happened was they told his family that were around, and those ones came and they apologized. We are sorry. Don't come to my house again. Finish. You know, and you know, you were talking about the process for justice and the likes.
It's dragged.
You know, it's dragged because I had the first-hand experience with it. When I was in uni, I was drugged and raped by a so-called friend, and he's a comes from a seemingly famous family in that place. And I think at the first time I wanted to go to the police, but they were telling me, you know, they were like, if you go, this family is a big family. They would take you out of school. And I think maybe about a year, so I spoke to one of these lawyers from FIDA, I think female something, and she was like, okay, you have all this information, okay, no wala would. And that took like months before I heard anything else. And next thing was like, you know, there's no evidence. There's no evidence now, and it's your word against his. So you can imagine how, you can imagine how, so I closed that case at that point, and then later I revisited it again. Now, I even had to call, you know, imagine having to call your abuser on phone. Wow, I had to call him to, like, so that he can admit that, you know, this day, this thing, blah, blah. Happened. And I sent it to the lawyer, and they were like, it's not enough evidence. What kind of evidence do you need? Like, I had to drop the case. Now, this is a classic example of what happens with other people. The process, if they don't see you with your clothes on or with your parts in disarray, they would say that, oh no, it's how will you prove? How would you prove that?
So it brings me to the story of the prostitute in the Bible that came to Jesus as they were stoning her. They wanted to stone her to death, and Jesus said, if you are without sin, cast the first stone. This was she sleeping with herself? See, there's nothing that is new. It's ever happened before.
Yeah.
Do you understand? She was caught in the act of adultery. Was she? And then they brought only her. Was she in adultery with herself? That one to ask her is proof. Yeah. So most times they would just look away.
You know, look away. You know, and then, you know, this particular person, you know, having a nice family, you know, and, you know, has, and it's not up to you as the victim to find ways to heal.
There's a lot of pressure to just act like it never happened.
And, you know, especially, one of the hardest parts of being a Christian is the fact that forgive. You know, it's like forgive. And I'm like, how do you forgive that kind of thing? Like, how? You know, and it now brings you, and I also run an organization where working against child sexual exploitation. Nice. And at some point I had to pause and change the whole vision of the organization because I was hearing too many stories, and it's like everyone I hear takes me back to when I was 7. Everything takes me back. I was like, you know what, I'm just healing. I cannot, you know, I just had to, you know, revamp to, okay, let's just work on providing comprehensive sexuality education for children to basically avoid this. Yeah. So the system is not even created to, I think only Lagos State has like a domestic and sexual, where they have like an accelerated thing where they do, but that's only Lagos State. What about the other states? What happens? You know, Violence Against Persons Act is by force that they used to approve it. Even some states have not even implemented it. So it's like nobody even cares. Yeah. That's why the burden keeps coming back. They'll be like, oh, don't walk, don't do this, don't do that. And did a 3-month-old baby a 3-month-old did a 3-month-old baby, you know,
just a lot of rules.
It's just a lot of rules for women and not a lot of rules for rapists.
You know,
I usually say that if you know that you are at risk of raping a woman, run. Avoid rape, run, or take a whistle and start screaming, I'm going to rape you, please run away. Like, why does it always have to be women? Don't walk a certain way, don't go out with men. Just a few days ago, there was this news on Twitter where 4 men drugged their wives and raped them, like,
they took turns.
Yes, they took turns to rape them. And it now brings you to think about, don't go out with men you don't know. Don't do this. Their husbands.
And these are people that you know. We'll go on another break, and when we return, it is time to wrap up the conversation. Keep it locked on Priority TV. It is still the Talehub.
Find great choices of automotives on the Urban Fleet app. Get it on your Google Play Store and iOS stores, or visit www.urbanfleet.biz.
Welcome back to the Talehub, powered by Priority TV. It is time to wrap up the conversation on sex in all facets. Thank you so much, Vera and Pelumi, for joining on the set today. But basically, in 30 seconds, what are your last words? You know, as they always say, give us your last words.
Okay, I really enjoyed myself on set. It was just
Awesome.
so
We need to have you back.
time. Okay, but I would like to establish something, right? Sex is beautiful. Sex is good. Sex should be enjoyed and not endured.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is a covenant meal.
Mm.
Sex was created by God, and He says everything He created is good. So sex is godly. So, but if you must have sex, you had better be having it the God way.
Word. Put a nail on it. And then to Pelumi.
Okay, this was absolutely amazing. It was nice to,
Nice for breaking
different,
down.
I mean,
I feel like we need to have you again.
I mean, like, it should be like a part 2 or something.
We haven't had like everything surrounding sex, so we need to come and like.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
get to sex with pregnancy.
There's a
we
whole
need to have this
lot,
discussion.
So, just to end, I'm just going to clarify a common misconception.
Okay.
There's only 2 kinds of sex, penetrative and non-penetrative. You see that thing that people call foreplay? It is sex. So, foreplay is sex. Whether you enter, penetrate or not, it is also sex.
Intercourse and outer course.
Yes, it is all sex. Because I because I understand the in and the out. Because at times people will be like, "Oh, we're not having good sex." I'm like, "What is the good sex? My husband is not lasting like 20 minutes in bed, but he has given you foreplay, explored everywhere, and you still feel you're not having good sex." Please, all sex is sex.
Yeah, foreplay is sex.
Foreplay is sex. Outside everything from the mind. In fact, sexting is sex.
Sexting, okay, that's a thing actually.
Yeah.
We really need to have a part 2 of this conversation. But I definitely hope that you enjoyed, our viewers out there enjoyed the topic for today. As we tag this, I'm sure you've seen it right here, conversations you'd love. And we're enthusiastic that more conversations that we'll have on this set are conversations that you would look forward to and obviously get you talking. Till I come your way again on another episode of the Talehub. I'm super excited that we're able to have this tough conversation today. And thank you so much again to Vera and Pelumi. I mean, totally amazing ladies. And I'm definitely hoping that viewers out there have loved this conversation, this topic today. As you can see on our conversation card, conversations you'd love. And I'm enthusiastic, I'm optimistic that you're loving this conversation. And when I come your way again and we have another topic, another conversation, we definitely look forward to it. So till I come your way again, it is still the Talehub, powered by Priority TV. I remain Faith. Ciao.